All right,
Huh.
share this, start this. Can you
I
guys see,
muted my.
can you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah, okay.
minimize this real quick and move this around. All right, so today, real quickly, we're gonna talk about the infield fly rule and how we can, again, use that to our advantage and what we need to look for when we're on the bases, all right, guys? So, Wade, what's an infield fly rule? Do you know what that is?
Um, I don't actually know like what it is fully, but I've seen.
Well, what is just
I
as
think
you
it. I
understand it, what
think
do you think it
it's.
means?
I think it means like it's hitting the infield and which is just like an automatic out. Like
Yeah,
it's just like hitting the infield and it's like an automatic out.
who's out? Do you
The
know?
runner.
The runner's out or the batter?
No, the batter.
Okay. And hold on, Axel, I gotta admit Axel here. All right. Do you know when it takes when it's invoked? Does that make sense? Do you know when it's applicable?
No.
Axel, are you here? Is he joining still? He's on mute. Austin, do you know when the infield fly rule is applicable?
When there's a guy at first or a guy at first and second.
What about first, second, and third?
Oh yeah, first, second, third too. Whenever there's a force play somewhere other than just first.
Okay, so actually,
You have to say okay.
oh, there you go,
I'm
guys.
here.
All right, Axel. So we're just going over the infield fly rule. Neither Wade nor Austin really knew. They knew what it was, but they didn't know when it takes effect. And it's only when there's a runner on first and second. Okay, Austin and Wade, or first, second, and third. So if there's a runner on first and it's an infield fly, it's not applicable.
Okay.
Wade, does an infield fly apply on a foul ball?
No. No.
You're right, it doesn't. So the infield fly, you got a guy on first, second, and third, meaning you've got a forced at two different bases. There's got to be a fly ball that in the umpire's discretion. So it's not Wade's discretion. It's not Austin's opinion. It's not Coach Kobe's decision whether or not a player would have caught it. If the umpire thinks the player, oh, there's Jackson Abel. If the umpire thinks the player would have caught it with quote unquote ordinary effort, then he's going to raise his hand and is going to call infield fly. Austin, if the umpire calls infield fly and you're on defense, what do the runners have to do or not have to do?
They do not have to tag.
What can they? Well, they don't have to tag. Well, let's see. What if he calls infield fly and the first baseman catches the ball?
Wait.
The umpire calls infield fly and the first baseman catches the ball.
If the ball was caught, tag up rule applies, but
Correct.
not until it is caught.
So the only thing an infield fly rule is going to do for you guys, it's basically going to take the ground ball or dropped ball force play away. And there's a reason for that. If the ball's hit, if you got a guy on first and second and there's a short pop up to the shortstop, every time he would intentionally drop it, throw the ball to third, throw the ball to second, get a double play. And that's why they have an infield fly is to stop you from doing that. The key here is ordinary effort, guys. If you're on the field, you're a runner and the ball's hit up and the infield and the umpire calls infield fly, go back to your base. Listen to your base coaches. We're not going to, most likely 99% chance we're not going to advance on an infield fly. There might be some other circumstances where we might try it, but mostly we're going to take advantage of this rule when we're on defense. Because if the ball is dropped, Axel, does a runner on first and second, do they have to run?
No.
No. Can they run?
Yes.
They can run at their own, they can run at their own peril. As we get older, these guys is playing against, they're going to know the rule, they're not going to run. But earlier in the year, playing at 9U, 10U, 11U baseball, A runner sees the ball drop on the infield, they just take off running because they think it's a force play. So we want to be real cognizant on defense if we drop a ball to watch for the runners and try to tag them out. So one thing we can think about doing is if it's a fly ball in the infield, runner on first, second, and third, it's always best for us to catch it, guys. The last thing we want to do is have it bounce and hit a rock and go left 8 feet, and then those runners can advance. On defense, again, listen to your coaches. Even if the ball drops, unless it gets kicked out of the way or thrown away, we're not going to try to advance on it. However, since I know Jackson and Axel weren't here when we started, the infield fly only applies when there is a runner on first and second or first, second, and third. It does not apply when there's a runner on first or just on first. So what if there is, Axel? Jackson, are you here? Let's
Yeah.
Jackson, there's a runner on first base. You're playing first, okay? Less than 2 outs, and there's a pop-up hit to you. A nice soft pop-up, straight up, straight down to you. Does an infield fly apply?
Maybe.
No, there's only a runner on first, so the infield fly wouldn't apply. So what does that allow you to do if you're heads up and recognize what's going on?
Got to see if the runner's tagging.
You could do that, or if it's a real soft fly ball, you could let that ball drop next to you. If you let it drop right in front of you, you can still corral it. You could then pick it up, tag the runner and tag first and get a double play. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Do you understand that? Same thing with the second and shortstop. If you got a guy on first and the ball's a nice soft ball, and this is, you guys have to be surrounding the ball. You've got to be really good to do this. You got to make sure the ball doesn't get by you. You let it hit the ground, you pick it up, and you turn a double play.
When would that, are we going to, I'm sure you are, but we talk about.
Intentional?
Yeah, well, that exact play, but at least 2 things you have to be situationally aware of as our eyes are getting real big and we're like, I'm going to let this ball drop. One, if it's behind the pitcher, or let's just say it's in the middle infield area, but between second base and the pitcher, if you're going to do that, somebody has to cover second base. Right. So there needs to be some communication if it's in that sort of no man's land between second base and the catcher, and both the second baseman, the pitcher, and the shortstop are coming into the ball. Somebody needs to communicate and say, cover the bag. Or if the second baseman is ball, the shortstop needs to peel out of the way and go cover the bag. So we got to be aware that somebody has to cover second base. 2, if there is a Charlie on first base and a base burner alpha dude who just hit the pop-up, catch the ball.
Right.
We want Charlie to slow roly-poly on first base. It's got to be one of those 2 on first base, because what if we don't turn the double play? Right? So there might be a situation where we're okay with somebody on first, and we got to make a smart decision about which guy we want on first base.
And this is also something you're going to look forward to if the ball's hitting the air. Some of these you have time to look around and see what's going on. If that batter pops the ball up and then slams his bat down and kicks dirt and walks out of the box, that's the guy you turn to double play on. If you're doing what you're supposed to do and what we're going to coach you guys to do, and you hit the guy hits the ball and he's sprinting out of the box no matter what, catch the ball. I don't think we probably will not use this infield fly or intentional drop.
It would have to be a scenario that the coaches could literally, as it's happening, tell you what's going on. It would have to be
right.
A huge roly-poly at the plate who's got an attitude and is not going to run it out.
Right.
You know, and speed burner on first that we want to get out regardless. We want him off the bases. So
It's got to be a straight up,
almost-
straight down pop up too. Nothing that's
but
going to bounce away.
you know,
from
runner on first, infield pop fly. You got to just be listening. Think about the scenario and listen, and we'll just guide you through. And we could say let it drop, and we could say it as loud as we want. They can't defend it. The guy coming out of the box, he's not going to be listening for that. The
Right.
guy on first might be. The coaches can, but they're not going to be able to react fast enough. So I think that us calling that play is not that big of a
Yeah, the guy at first, if he hears us say let it drop and he takes off, well then we catch it and double him up. If he tags up, we let it drop and we turn two. The key to this play is the guy out of the box. If he's doing his job, sprinting out of the box, this play doesn't work. Wade. So let's say you're playing first base. There's a guy on first. The ball's coming up, and you hear Coach Kobe say, "Let it drop, let it drop." Does that ball hit your glove in the ground? Is that if that glove hits if the ball hits your glove first, will that play work?
No,
Why not?
because if it hits my glove first,
Yes.
it'll be like a double play.
So it's a live ball.
Yeah.
So that again, it's gonna be an umpire's call, but there's actually a rule, guys, called the intentional drop, which is to prevent us from doing what we're talking about. So Wade, if you're at first base and there's a line drive hit to you, and there's a guy, a runner on first, you can't catch that ball with your glove and then open it up and let it drop in front of you, then pick it up to turn it over play. That they would call that an intentional drop.
Mhm.
So the key to the play that Kobe and I are talking about is it's a pop-up. We've got plenty of time. Kobe yells, let it drop, let it drop. You cannot touch the ball. It has to hit the ground first. If it hits the ground first, there's no rule against it. It's not an infield fly. And the intentional drop, the rule is the fielder has to touch it. So if you don't touch it, they can't call intentional drop on us either. I don't think we played. I've coached with Kobe since the OC Cardinals. Since some of these kids were 9 years old, I haven't seen an intentional drop or an intentional dropped infield fly, or intentional double play turn. I've seen an unintentional plays turn, but I haven't seen kids smart enough to do it. But as you get older, you will see this in middle school, high school, and college ball. All right. So that's the basic rule. We can use that to our advantage, whether we will or not. It's going to be difficult. I kind of want to get on to the last little bit of this. You know, the last 2 or 3 meetings we've been talking about this being strong mentally, having a good attitude, picking each other up. The last thing today I want to talk about is kind of being grateful for what we have. And this is the get to versus got to type mentality. When you walk into practice, it shouldn't be, oh man, I've got to practice tonight, or I've got to go hit tonight, or I got to throw tonight, or I've got to do this. If you guys turn that mentality to, I get to throw a bullpen tonight. I get to go to practice and get better. I get to hit off Coach Kobe in the cage tonight. You guys are going to see that your attitude toward practice changes. You guys have to like practice more than you like games. And that's just the real deal with it. You practice 4 times as much in baseball than you actually play. Be thankful for the teammates. Be thankful for your coaches. Be thankful for your parents to take you out there, because there's a lot of kids that want to play on this team. There's a lot of kids that want to play travel ball that don't get to do it. So you will have a better attitude if you look at this as something that you get to do versus something that you have to do. And I understand a lot of you guys would rather be at home playing Fortnite for a little bit. But take a look at this as, and kind of check yourself and look at how you're viewing practice. Is it something that you're not looking forward to, or something that you're looking forward to? And if you're not looking forward to it, then there's got to be something we can do to help change that, the way you're viewing the practice. And maybe we can make it a little more fun, or what we can do, because you have to enjoy going to practice. This practice is a privilege, guys. We haven't done a lot of punishments. We haven't had to do a lot of punishments on this team for people that misbehave or throw tantrums. But I'm going to look at it as practice is a privilege. I think all the coaches are going to look at it as practice is a privilege. And if you act up during practice or a game, You're going to miss games. You're going to miss practice. And if you miss practice, you're not getting better. If you're not getting better, somebody else is. So if we have to correct somebody more than once or twice during a practice, we're going to ask them to sit out and they're going to miss a drill. And a lot of you might say, okay, misses practice, big deal. But that's not the attitude we need to have. You should look at practice as that's my opportunity to get better and I don't want to miss it. We're going to kind of have some standing stretches. When you get to practice, you've got to do your basic bands or whatever stretches you've got going forward. You've got to do your calisthenics, everything before we start hitting or throwing. So if you're late to practice and we're already in the middle of a drill, the coaches and I at least are going to expect you to go through your stretching routine. We don't want you to show up at practice time, jump right in and start throwing bullpens because that's a good way to get hurt. We don't want you to show up and start trying to hit bombs if you haven't stretched out or loosened up either. So stretching is going to be very important. It's going to only get more important as you get older. Trust me, I'm 48 now, and I wish I stretched more when I was younger. But that's going to be a standing rule we have. You've got to do your stretching before you start to practice or games. Bringing it all together, guys. This is kind of the climax of all 3 weeks we had. Early on, we talked about you might not be the strongest or fastest, but you can be the best teammate out there. You can make other teammates better. You can be a great leader. Whoops, let me go back here. How do I go back? Sorry, guys, I messed it up there. We want everyone here to be a great leader, not just on the team, but in your community, in your school. Be confident. And we talked about, even if you don't have the confidence, fake it till you make it. That's what we talked about, walking big to the plate, chest out, grab your barrel, and having positive talk to yourself. Be positive and mentally tough. Always talk up your teammates. And know that we can't control the event. We can't control where the ball goes. We can't control the hop the ball takes. We can't, always control where we throw it. But what we can control is how we react to that action, and that's going to be the outcome. And if we always react positively, the outcomes are going to be positive, and you're going to have a much more fun and a better team to hang out with. And finally, we'll talk about this a little later, is set high goals for yourself. We see ability in every one of you guys. You guys should all have various goals for this year. We don't want to set goals that are too low, that are easily attainable. We also want to set goals that are too high that we can't reach. We want to have goals that we can get to, and once you reach them, you set the goal even higher. So where does that get this? All this mental talk that we have talked about. Evan Longoria. Anybody heard Evan Longoria's name? Axel, you watch a little Tampa Bay baseball, don't you? Jackson, have you heard Evan Longoria, the name? Axel,
No.
you haven't heard him? Axel, have you heard of him?
Yeah.
So you can see here, he's played in the majors for 16 years. He played on the Arizona Diamondbacks last year in the World Series. In 2006, he was first round number 3 overall pick, right? He was a year and a half later, he wins Rookie of the Year. He's a 4-time All-Star, 3 Gold Gloves and Silver Slugger award. You're like, big deal. What's that? What does that have to do with me? Anybody know where he played college ball at?
JUCO.
He wasn't drafted out of high school. He had no Division I offers, and he played at a local community college. That's where he got his start. When he graduated high school, he was 6'1" and 170 pounds. He's now 6'1", 215. You ask around baseball, and he is known as having the best mental game in baseball. So I want to play for you guys a real quick video that talks about Evan Longoria and his mental approach to the game. And you guys are going to hear a lot of things that we talked about throughout this 3 weeks and all of last year. Let me know if you guys can't hear it.
All right, everyone, let's get it going. Jeremy, what do you got?
A guy who 16 months ago had never
We can't see it.
major league.
Can't see it? All right, hold
But
on.
now he's been
What do you got?
Let me know if you see it. You see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
All right, everyone, let's get it going. Jeremy, what do you got?
A guy who 16 months ago had never played in the major leagues, but now he's been elected to 2 All-Star teams, won the Rookie of the Year award of the American League unanimously, and many people in baseball are saying that he has the potential to be the best ever at his position.
Where was he a year and a half ago?
That's the thing that makes Evan Longoria in a lot of ways so special. I mean, he really did come out of nowhere in a sense. Not only was he not drafted out of high school, not only was he not recruited by a single Division I baseball program, he was barely recruited by Division III, which doesn't award scholarships.
What changed for him?
Well, he'll tell you the most important thing that changed for him was his mental maturation.
Walk slow to the plate. Remember your breathing.
Fulbright School Tulsa is changing its name to Atlas School. I'm Libby, the executive director of the newly independent.
Stick with the approach. Keep the routine going. Get into the game. Don't worry about the result.
What goes on in the mind of Tampa Bay Rays third baseman Evan Longoria has helped him emerge as one of the game's highest profile young stars. The focus, sense of calm, the faith in process, they're all essential components of his makeup.
Everybody says the same thing to me. They watch him go up to the plate, holds the bat like he's sleeping until he explodes at the ball.
At the age of 23, Longoria is already a two-time All-Star. His highly developed mental approach to the game, not to mention his willingness to discuss it, distinguishes him from his peers. It also gives him an edge.
To us, it looks like it just happens naturally, but there is a method. His ability to be in the present moment makes him one of the best. When the pitch is being thrown, he's already forgotten about last at bat, and all that exists is this particular pitch, and this particular pitch is coming to me right now.
I see a lot of guys who have a lot of physical ability, but don't have enough up top to, be able to control certain situations, or, some guys don't really buy into the whole mental training side of baseball, I guess. But for me, I've been doing it for so long that it's something that I trust.
All right, we'll stop it there. You guys can go back and
Longoria's been doing it for
Stop it.
5
you guys can go back and watch it. The link's in the slideshow. He actually retained he hit 418 or something like that at community college and went to Long Beach State. At Long Beach State, that's where he met his first mental coach. And this guy, you'll see him, he's on the steps of the dugout taking mental at-bats. When he's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th in the hole, he'll stand in the box and work the pitcher. He'll hold the bat over his shoulder and he'll just stand at the top of the steps and he'll work the at-bat like he's hitting. He forgets every pitch. It goes by him. He's not one of those guys that'll go up there and think, oh, he just threw me a curveball. I'm probably looking fastball. He knows I'm looking fast. He doesn't care. He forgets the pitch before and he's just looking at the one pitch. There's about 10 more minutes of this video. It's really good of some of the stuff he talks about, but it's about being present, being confident, and worrying about the next pitch that comes. Let me stop sharing that. Go back here.
Just one quick comment, to expand the notion of being present a little bit into our scenario. And this relates to how you present to teams, whether it's high school or future showcase teams, things like that. If you're a guy that after you're done with whatever defense or you're at bat and you go back into the dugout and you're by yourself not on the fence paying attention, all of the coaches see that. And unlike even Longoria right there, when he was making millions of dollars, but still standing there at the top of the dugout on the fence watching his team, he doesn't have to do that. What does that tell your coach that you're trying out for? Anybody?
Either you're a me guy or a team guy.
Yeah. I mean, it speaks to your ability to learn, because right off the bat, if you're not paying attention and you're not engaged, you're a I can't learn kind of guy. Just right off the bat, without even knowing you, without ever speaking to you, they've kind of drawn a line through your name already, right? And that's one of those things that you can fake it till you make it. So when we say, hey, stop grabbing ass in the dugout, we're not talking about the grabbing ass. We're talking about that you're not on the fence watching every play, being supportive, being a good teammate, being a leader. That's what we're talking about. So when we if we have to fuss at you for that, it's not the grabbing ass. It's what you're not doing. Right?
And we like to get to the point. And Kobe, I don't know if you were here last week, but I kind of told them we don't expect them to do everything we talk about 100% right now.
Of course not.
13. But if we can remind them enough, get off the fence, get off the fence, get off the fence, and next year or at the end of this year, we don't have to do that as much, and it's ingrained in your skull to, okay, I got to start picking up this guy's next pitch. Then we've done our job, and you guys are ready to go and push it even farther. So again, might remind you.
So if you're right, if we say get off if we say get off the bench, it's not because we care that you're on the bench. Your reaction should be, I'm not in the moment. I'm not engaged. I need to refocus and get on the fence and do those other things, right?
Yeah, you guys got
so that's your cue.
2 years to get your fully engagement in, and probably a year and a half, 18 months now to get fully engaged. And we're here to remind you about how to get engaged.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's probably harder than the game itself. Yeah. I mean, full-grown adults can't pay attention in meetings much longer than 45 minutes. That's about the limit of really being hyper-focused and engaged. Well, your games are twice that length, and they're going to get longer. You know, a 9-inning college game is 2.5 to 3 hours long. To stay engaged that long is not easy.
Double-header 7-inning games. It's even worse.
Yeah.
You're going to see those guys. Even in high school, double-headers.
It's not easy. So we'll remind you, we'll give you cues. And y'all might catch us slipping off too, and you can say, hey, focus, coach.
Yeah,
we'll say thank you.
Yeah, and so guys, I'd recommend going back and watch. I think the total thing is, I think it's 12 minutes long. It was produced by ESPN, but they go in and interview him about the stuff he does, and it's the stuff that Kobe preaches. It's the stuff that Shane preaches. It's the stuff that I preach. It's, you know, hey, I strike out, I forget about it, I move on, I'm ready to see the next pitch. He's positive about everything. He strikes out. He's like, now I won't miss that pitch again type thing mentality. Not, oh, he struck me out and I'm horrible. It's, I've seen his best pitch and now I'm going to hit it. So all the stuff that we're talking to you guys about staying engaged, staying present, you know, being positive, being a good leader, being a good teammate, that all goes to making you guys better people. That's just not being good in baseball. That's going to take you far in life. It's going to take you far in your job and your career and school. But one thing I want to talk about, one thing I want to finish on, and you guys, this is kind of a task for you guys to do yourselves, but I kind of asked you guys to think about a goal that you guys want to do this year. It could be one goal, it could be 3 goals, but think about the goal that you want to accomplish this year, something that you strive for, and write it down. These aren't like, goals aren't like birthday wishes when you blow out the candles and you can't tell anybody what it is. I want you to tell everybody you know what your goal is. You want to know why? Why, Wade? Why do I want to tell everybody what my goal is? Oh, now you're on mute.
So you want to tell everybody what your goal is. So I think probably because if you tell everybody what your goal is, then they'll know and you'll have like more pressure too.
not pressure, but accountability, right? So if you tell all your teammates, hey guys, I want to be present every at bat or every inning of these games, and then they see you kind of slumming down in the corner during a game, Austin and Axel could come up to you or Jackson come up to you and say, hey, wait, your goal is to be present. Come on, buddy, let's get up here, get up here. It holds you accountable. They know what you're striving for. They can help you, right? Coaches can help you. If your goal is to make solid contact or more solid contact, hit for more power, coaches can give you the drills. We know what you want to do. We can help you with that. But don't keep it to yourself, because if you start slipping, you might lower your goal next time. Let's just do, that's tough. I just want to be present half the time. No, tell us what it is. And so we can hold you accountable and remind you what your goal is. And not only do you write down those goals, guys, write down 5 or 6 things that you can do to reach that goal, right? So let's just use an example of wanting to throw harder. I can do long toss. I can lift. I can eat right. I can get more sleep. And these are all things not necessarily that are team related, but things that you can do. And then every 6 weeks, go back and check your note card and see if you're doing those things. Ask Austin, hey, do you want to go? Am I doing this right? Or ask Axel, hey, am I doing this right? Coaches are here to help you guys. There's so much more information right now online than you could possibly. I mean, not all of it's good. you gotta parse through some of the stuff that's on there, but there is a lot of good stuff out there that if you guys want to do anything to get better on baseball, Kobe or I or even your parents can most likely find you drills or things to do online. But I'd like you guys to think about those goals and come to practice and let somebody know on the team what it is, what your goals are. Maybe it's don't make them so abstract. I think I told you guys, we don't want to say, I want to hit X amount of home runs, or I want to hit 400, or I want to win 20 games. It's got to be something.
It should be, it should be smaller, like real time. Like my goal based on my past couple tournaments is my goal is for this game, I want 3 QABs. I want 3 quality at bats. We're going to chart those at bats. It's something tangible.
Right.
I want to be hyper focused on the base path, and I want to steal 2 bases. It's something that in the short term. Now you should obviously have goals for this season. We should probably establish a team goal, but you should have, especially if you're already in school ball, you should have goals, because you should already have sort of figured out the lay of the land. Which team are you on? Is it an A squad? Is it a B squad? How many people are ahead of you in terms of how many people do you have to beat out to get a starting spot? Like, you should already have an idea of what those goals might be. And those are fantastic. You're not going to get very far if you don't already have sort of a bullseye on somebody. All right. I would imagine that there's people ahead of y'all. So that would be your school ball goal. But we should come into this, we'll be pretty much through. Well, we'll be part of the way through school ball by the time we start, but it'll be sort of 50-50, but you should have, goals. I got to have 1 at bat per game for this tournament. All right. And then as you're let's say we come off of that tournament and you didn't reach that goal, then what is your next thought? Why? Because I have a whole week before the next tournament. I've got to make some changes. I need to talk to some people. I need to see some video. You've got to have a game plan between tournaments. And maybe you have the same goal. Maybe you said I wanted to go 4 for 5. Well, that was silly. So let's pick a better goal. And if it's a reasonable goal and you didn't achieve it, what do I need to do? What do I need to do this week to give me a shot at reaching that goal for the next tournament?
And once you reach that achievable goal, you set another one, just a little bit higher. And then you set another one. And eventually at the end of the year, now that 4 for 5 goal doesn't look as crazy, right?
Totally feasible. Yeah.
So you guys just got to build on it, but we've got to put, you guys have to something that pushes yourself to know why you want to get better or who you're going for. And as Kobe said, there's always someone in front of you you're aiming for. Dude, you guys got a bullseyes on your back as well. There's guys behind you that are looking at you as their competition. So you've always got to be moving forward. And I'm not going to play this video here, but it's on the slides. It's a great video. I watch it once a year. It's a Navy Admiral William McRaven, who basically organized and ran Operation Geronimo, if you guys know what that is, when they went in and capture and kill Osama bin Laden. And he gave a commencement speech at the University of Texas probably 10 years ago, and basically went through the 10 things he does every day to make himself better. And I start by making my bed. I start by looking fear in the eyes. I start by taking the bad and turning it into a good. But it's a good, I mean, like I said, it's probably worth watching once a year to remind yourself of these 10 things that this Navy SEAL, wakes up and starts his day doing. So I don't have much more. I just hope that, obviously you guys can tell this year, I really want to stress the mental side and the preparation side and the being positive side as you go forward. There's a quote I heard the other day, and I'm not going to butcher it, but it had to do with a flashlight and a hammer. You always want to flashlight the good that you do. You don't want to hammer the bad that you do. So when you get back from an at bat and you missed a 0-2 curveball, don't beat yourself up with the hammer. Flashlight what you did good. The first 2 pitches I fouled off great. I'll get that curveball next time. Because if you beat yourself up after that first at bat, we have lost you for the rest of the game. Does it make sense, guys?
Truth.
Guys, anything you guys want to add? Any questions you have? All right, I'll send you guys out these slides later to your parent. You guys can watch those videos if you want to, but I'd suggest definitely watching the Evan Longoria one. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow night if you can make it for practice. Thanks for making it, Jackson.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I gotta end the recording here somehow. I don't know how I do that. We'll just close the meeting. All right, bye, guys.